All right, welcome back to part 3 of the ultimate guide to renting your house. And today I want to walk you through the 7 things that you need to do before you actually put your house out to market. So there's at least 7 things. I've got a printout here that we've developed over the years that we think these things are just super important for owners to understand before they actually market their house. So the first thing you need to do is you need to go ahead and make sure you have the right property insurance. So you're going to change from homeowner's insurance to landlord insurance. It's super simple. Just reach out to your insurance agent and make sure that you get that all set up. The second thing is, if you don't already have one, I'm going to suggest that you find a good accountant. There are some tax benefits to renting out your home, and so you need to consult an accountant, a CPA, on what those are, and then they're going to help you make sure that you have all the right records. You need to be keeping records of expenses and income. All that's going to be important when you file taxes at the end of the year. So just make sure you have your accountant set up, or you make your accountant aware of what you're doing. The next thing is, it's good, like you need to find and make sure you have a lease, and then we suggest making sure that an attorney reviews your lease. This is really, really important. Now you can go grab a lease from off of a website or something like that. It needs to be applicable to your state, but then also have an attorney review this. As you can imagine, we've signed tens of thousands of leases over the past several years, and we have attorneys look at all of our leases to make sure they're compliant, make sure they're fair for us as the property manager, but also the resident. And then we encourage, obviously, the residents to read through them. If they have any questions, they can ask us, but make sure you do that. Don't just go grab something and think that some kind of blanket template is going to work, because it's probably not going to work. The fourth thing that you want to do is you want to establish your screening criteria. So before you start taking applications in and getting somebody to sign a lease, you're going to want to screen that resident, that potential resident. And so know what you're looking for. This could be credit score. This could be criminal background, looking for felonies or violent misdemeanors. This could be previous landlord referrals or checks. You're going to want to verify income. They're going to write down how much income they make. You're going to need to know what's acceptable to you. So is it 3 times gross income? Is it 4 times net income? Whatever the case is, understand your screening criteria so that when somebody fills out the application, that they know what you're going to be looking for. And then you're going to need to have a way to run all of that. But just make sure that you're following all the fair housing laws and that you are very compliant with those federal and state fair housing laws. Number 5 here is you want to get all the additional paperwork ready. So there's some paperwork that you're going to need to get done. So these are some of the things that we think of. Rental application. When somebody, you may be showing the house to somebody. If you're renting it yourself, you're going to have them fill out a rental application. So you're going to want to have that document ready. You're going to want to have credit check authorization forms so that they give you permission to check their credit. Any kind of disclosures that your state may require, things like lead-based paint disclosure for houses that were built prior to 1978. Those things are going to be very important. What we like to do is we also like to have a move-in checklist. So this is a checklist. We want to make sure that when the person moves in, that it's perfect. We also want to take pictures. This is something you're going to want to do. Just take pictures and make sure that everything is in working order when your resident goes to move in that property. And that way you have all the documentation. We also would encourage you to give the resident a copy of that so that if there's something wrong, they can mark it down and say, hey, this doorknob was broken when I moved in. They don't want to be charged for it when they move out, or they may ask you to come fix it. So like a move-in checklist and move-out checklist would be really, really important for you to have. And then any kind of notices to tenants that you might need to use, whether that be you need to come in and do an inspection on the property or whatever, and you want to leave a 24 or 48 hour notice, you can put that on the door. You can also send them an email, anything like that. But obviously there's going to be several forms that you're going to want to have ready before a resident moves into that house. So that would be number 5. So Number 6 is going to be just a punch list of repairs that you need to do to the house. And this is you walking through the property. If you're a homeowner, you've lived in this house, there may be things that you've kind of ignored for a while because they weren't really a big deal to you. Well, they're going to be a big deal for this resident. So make sure that you have those things listed out and that you repair them, you fix them. If there's big scuff marks on the wall, make sure you paint those. Either paint that area or paint the entire wall. Make sure your flooring is clean. Nothing is going to turn a resident off, a potential great resident for you, than coming into a house that's dirty or a house that has scuffs on the wall. Like if they're a great resident, they'll go somewhere else and rent another house. So you want to make sure that you have all these things taken care of before the resident even comes to see the property. If these residents start coming to see the property and they're not filling out an application, they're trying to tell you something is wrong with the property. And it would be a good idea to ask them. They may tell you or they may not tell you. But if you're not getting applications after several viewings, then something's going on inside the house. So you want to make sure and knock out all those repairs. And then the last bit of advice that we have here is just kind of along the same lines. I would do some landscaping outside, make sure the grass is cut, make sure that the leaves are raked if it's in the fall or the winter, make sure that everything's in good order outside. You want to have curb appeal. A potential resident is going to look at how you've taken care of the property and they're going to make an instant judgment call. If you have a sign in the yard and the yard's overgrown and it looks like it's, you've got rotten wood and peeling paint on the outside of the property, then they're more than likely not going to fill out an application, not going to call you, not want to come in and check the property out. So those are just some of the things that you need to do before you market the house. I hope this helps. The next step, we're going to get further into actually marketing your property, showing your property, and getting leases signed. So stay tuned for the next episode of the Ultimate Guide to Renting Your Home.